We have got Brooke Vincent.
Brooke Levi Vincent.
Brooke
We've
Levi
got to use
Vincent.
full name. Levi. Such a cool name.
It's a very cool name.
What a cool name. So we've got Brooke Vincent. Everyone will know.
Coronation Street legend.
Yeah, everyone will know her as Sophie Webster. She was in it for about 17 or 18 years playing Sophie Webster. And she has got a really interesting side hustle.
Really interesting. Very specific. And she's very passionate about it. And it makes you just want to run out and buy it.
Yeah.
But you've got to wait till September.
We won't tell you.
Yeah.
It's like a bit of intrigue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, watch the podcast.
Yeah, because
listen to the podcast.
What could it be?
What could it be?
Well, you'll find out.
You'll find out in a bit. Should we be a bit more prepared?
Absolutely feral.
I'm almost intimidated.
No, me.
That was my first thing. I was like, hi, Brooke. Thank you so much for joining us.
So we have got on to talk about her side hustle. We have got Brooke Vincent, or to give you your full name, the best name, Brooke Levi Vincent.
That is right. That's my name.
How cool! How cool is that middle name? I love it. How are you, Brooke? Are you okay?
You wouldn't think I was from a council estate, would you? I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, we're awesome,
aren't we? Yeah.
We're good. And you are our third celebrity side hustle guest.
And she's an interesting guest.
This is going to be really interesting. Yeah,
I'm excited.
I'm looking
that
forward to it.
Oh God, don't.
We know
be,
you're
if
really
I'm
busy.
Awful now, so boring. Everyone's like, oh God, you've really hyped this up.
Absolutely not. And obviously, you and Rox have got something in common because you both just filmed Drama Queens.
Although we never got to meet ever on doing this. This is the first time we've actually spoken.
Oh, is it? Yeah. I thought you all got together at some point.
No, we never crossed
it's
paths,
mad
did we?
Because they tried to get everyone together for like a photo shoot, and none of us, it just didn't work.
Yeah,
everyone
half
was
of
like,
us were there.
Here, there, and everywhere.
Was the point of
the show,
Drama
that
Queens,
everyone's
wasn't it?
busy.
That everyone's you're a group of girls that are all busy with life and with kids and with. How are the kids, by the way?
Absolutely feral.
Yes, I know what you mean.
And you know what's funny? I was going to say, Matthew, I know it's funny because I know you've got the boys, and I just think that boys are like chimpanzees. Like my kids are like circus acts. I could make so much money from them. Honestly, it's a joke.
Maybe you should. Should we get them all together? Just get them all together in a soft play room, and then and just put cameras on them. It'd be brilliant.
Yeah, have a good brew.
Absolutely. So listen, Brooke, what we're going to do, we're going to start right back at the beginning.
Which was Coronation Street, I'm presuming, was your first acting job. Is that correct?
It's not, actually.
I
had a little cameo role. So is it a cameo? Am I a cameo role?
Yeah.
A cameo role? A small role. In A League of Gentlemen, it was called.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was Casey Emma Glass. I was the beauty pageant kid. And I had no idea what a set looked like, what I was walking into.
How old were you?
Overall experience, I was 9, I think. Sure, I was 9. But I just remember my overall experience that I took away from it was that they had a bus that you ate your dinner on. And that was amazing for me. I was like, oh my God. Went back to school, they have a bus that you eat your dinner on. And it was so amazing. That was my first job when I was like 9. And then I, again, went for a couple of auditions. I went for an audition for Max Spielman at the time. And I kept calling him Max Spielberg. And then they did give it me. I'm not surprised. And then, Corrie came along.
So Corrie came along when you were, so your first sort of taste of TV was at 9 years old. So you were 12, were you, back in 2004 when you started Corrie?
Yeah, well, I was just about to turn 12. I was 11 when I started. Mad experience because I just started high school. So, and as well, one of the really, strange things that I'd always try and say to people is that I didn't come from, the world of the actor world. I didn't know about that kind of stuff. So it was a real accomplishment for me, to have got a job, and it was on Corrie, and it was like, oh my God, she's on Corrie. And it was huge because Corrie was so big in my house. Like, it was something you sat down with my nana and granddad, sat down with my mum and watched. And it was a real part of people's culture at that time.
When you started, How did you feel as an 11-year-old walking onto the set or during those first few weeks? Were you just caught up in the excitement, or was it terrifying, or do you remember what that was like?
Honestly, I feel like as we get older, that's where we pick up the fear. I think,
Interesting.
I at the time I think my mum's always been really good with me, and I think I am a little bit like this now with my kids, where if there's something big going on, we try and like distract him. So my mum used to say, just make sure you go to bed so you got sparkly eyes. That's what my mum used to say. Make sure you have a nice sleep so you got sparkly eyes. So I used to think more about my sparkly eyes than actually what was going on.
We need to do that. We need a good night's sleep.
Next time you see your sparkly eyes. And what was it like at school? What were the reaction? Because you said you just started school at the same time. What was everyone else's reaction in your class?
It was weird because, like I say, growing, it was a real different kind of experience to people, because not like say I wasn't from an area where kids did that. So, I had my set of friends, which was good, and it was challenging at times. And I think a lot of my defense mechanisms now are very much like making things seem less important, or not necessarily like really
threatened.
Celebrating my highs, because I always felt like that was going to offend other people,
right?
So I'm probably more cautious as an adult, probably subconsciously coming from that. I'm more cautious about, and you'll know yourself, if someone said, oh God, you look gorgeous, so, oh, it's £5 from Primark. But if it was more, if I'd paid 80 quid for it, I'll just go, thanks. Like you just don't, it is very much like, it is, yes, probably like fight or flight. And it was just kind of like, it was school. My school was really good with me. My friends was good with me. And, my group of friends from school, we're all still friends now. And we're like football hooligans, like literally like football hooligans, a lot of us. So, yeah.
So when you said that all your mates must have known that you were into acting and you wanted to act, did you go to a stage school? Because obviously at 11 you've not trained as an actor, as an actor, as an actress.
Yeah, so I went to drama school. But my mum was a single parent, and like she used to hate it. We used to hate sitting in the traffic on a Monday up National Road. Then she'd sit outside and wait, and then bring me back. And
so did you go?
I remember
every
I did a show. Every Monday at 6 with David Johnson. I don't know if you know who David Johnson was, but he was very scary. And he just, he taught you, etiquette. If you was late, you was out. I used to plead with my mum, please don't be late, please take the shortcut. I can't be late, I can't walk in late, I'm not going in.
That's a really good foundation though, isn't it?
Yeah, I've never been late for a job, because you the job's bigger than you. You've got to be there, mate, because if you're not, there's someone else that'll be there.
I mean, that is amazing that was drilled into you at such an early age, because you're right. I mean, I'm not saying like kids nowadays are always late for jobs and stuff, but I think there is a different mentality in kids now, and they need it drumming into them. Like, you're right. The job's you're never bigger than the job.
I don't even think it's an age thing. I mean, I've worked with some actors that are just tardy. They're always a bit late. For stuff, and it does affect the mood on set, because if everyone else is there on time, ready to go, it's disrespectful, isn't it? You've got to, and like you said, you've got to always have that awareness that the job is bigger than you. And I think with something, for a young person going into a show like you did, it would have been really quite easy for you to feel entitled and incredibly, special, and to take the piss. But the fact that you were very respectful and very much aware that the job was bigger than you and you were there to work, I just think that's
my mum. I have to give a lot to my mum, because she never ever like sprinkled glitter on me, ever. Like, I remember when Ugg boots came out, and at the time, £100 boots was extortionate. We didn't have that kind of money. And I remember saying to him, Nikki Sanderson's got Ugg boots, Mum, please can I have Ugg boots? And she just went, no, Brooke, you can go to Primark with your friends and get the £13 ones. The ones that used to make your feet go in like that. And that's what I just looked in there.
Bad knees now.
And literally I have arthritis in my hip because of all the bad Uggs. But I just kind of had a normal life. My friends was normal, my family was normal, and we just kind of like dealt with it. And you know, back then as well, we didn't have social media. We didn't have this platform where people got to you. So the only people you knew, the only people you saw was people on your street, people in your school, at dance, whatever, you know, drama school, and, you know, just around your local area. So my mum, again, like I say, we just had a normal life. And I think that's a lot of how I am is probably down to my mum for not doing that, because it's very easy to get caught up in this, you know, life.
Yeah, I think it's because people maybe outside of the industry have an idea of what it is and think it's something that's more interesting, more financially rewarding, more glamorous, more than it actually is. And you know, once you're in it, you're turning up, you're working hard, you're going home back to your family. And I think sometimes that reflected glory can be quite seductive, and people end up kind of losing the feet a little bit. Do you know what I mean? But you've seemed to have
I
stayed
think you
so
just
grounded.
stand out, don't you? It makes you stand out. Whatever you're doing, you stand out because it's a recognizable face. So I think, you know, that did come with its hard times, I suppose, like growing up, especially when I had like really bad acne. And like, I remember I was on, that's what I mean, I'm an absolute clown. I was jumping on the trampoline and one of the lads from my estate pulled my leg and I smashed my front tooth. I had filming the next day. I didn't have money to get a crown. I had to go to the NHS bloody tooth place, the dentist, and he put this one on and it was all wonky. And I was like, oh my God. And I've gone through like life and the just general chaos of life on screen.
Yeah.
So that's like, I suppose, you know, humbling if nothing else. If I ever get too cocky, I always look back at them and think, bleeding hell.
And do you know what? Funnily enough, that I remember you starting in Corrie, and that's the kind of character you played, isn't it? You were you were dead down to earth, you were dead brash, you were like, so essentially it worked, didn't it? It really worked. And it obviously worked because you were there for how long? How long were you at Corrie for?
Oh God, 17 years.
Yeah, wow, amazing.
So after being in that job for so long, what was it that made you decide now was the time for you to go? Was it?
I was pregnant.
So it was
kids. Me and Sasha Parkinson, who played my girlfriend at the time, we always had this dead big dream that we was going to go to America and go and be waitresses and do Route 66 when we was 21 and all this jazz. And then we both got boyfriends and it was like, yeah, that's not happening. And I never, Sash left, like, you know, left Corrie and went and did other things. And
did she become a waitress in America?
She didn't become the waitress. She did do some films, but she didn't become the waitress without me. I'd have been gutted. But, you know, she really did fly the nest. And I think I was always a little bit more apprehensive and a little bit scared. So when I got pregnant, a lot of my life has been kind of, and you guys will know, like, it's quite a, what's the word? You know, they have full control, so to speak. You know, we're in such a big business. There's so many people that, you know, you need to be there when they need you. And sometimes that affects personal, like, relationships or life.
You live every 2 weeks because you get your schedule every 2 weeks and everything has to be organised around that. And if something changes, you're basically on call. So it's
so I remember when I had my little boy, or I was pregnant, and I remember thinking to myself, you know, this time with my little boy, I kind of wanted to just be a mum and just see who I was, you know, away from that character. Like you say, I was in such crucial years. I was this character, and I kept thinking to myself, like, what would I look like if I wasn't Sophie Webster? Like, what would I dress like? What would, you know, would I have had like facial piercings, or would my hair be blonde, or what would have happened? Because they've got such a say on how you look.
Yeah.
That, like, I was like, oh my God. And I remember being dead rebellious and getting my nose pierced. I was like, I'm getting my nose pierced. But yeah, when I had my little boy, I was literally like, you know what? I didn't want that commitment to have somebody have that much control to be able to say, do you know what? We're going to pull you back in and you're going to have to, you know, do your job, when I had the kind of luxury and the time to be at home with him. And then also we had lockdown.
Yeah,
so then that naturally took me away from going back, and then I was pregnant again. So I was like, I had like 2 babies in the space of, well, there was both 2 under 2. Wow. And lockdown in the middle of it. And, you know, so that was a completely different shift to anything. And I thought, like, I knew what hard work was. I thought, you know, I've got up every morning and I've gone to work, and nothing is going to prepare you for 2 children under 2.
And
2 boys.
And in lockdown as well. How did lockdown work with 2 under 2? Was it tough?
Well, to be fair, I only had 1 in lockdown. And then when I had my second little boy, it was just lifting. Then everyone started getting a life back. And I was like, hold on. Whoa.
I've got this little one to
pub.
raise. Yeah.
No, not everyone's going to the pub. We're raising the kids. It takes a village. You're the village. Where you going?
Yeah.
But yeah, again, like, it's one of them things that I look back on. And I remember when my little boy turned 1, my youngest, and I cried because I remember every day being a struggle, and every day was so hard to get us out the house, to do anything. It was just so hard navigating it when you're not speaking to adults and you're not dealing with a schedule. And I've been so probably regimented from being such a young child that I was like, come on, you should have had your bottle 10 minutes ago. What's going on? We're going to be late. We're going to be late. And
schedules. That's what. Yeah, You've grown up with. No, kids definitely don't respect schedules. No,
it's it's like that last hurdle of getting out the door. When everything's done, you feel like, now I exit, and there's always 15 minutes worth of additional things.
100%.
that needs doing, and then you're always late.
Buster, my oldest is 14. He left the house with no shoes on today and got in the car to go to school. I was like, where's your shoes? Oh, God, sorry. I was like, how do you forget to put shoes on?
He's got so much sass as well. I love Buster. Honestly, I do. Again, though, like you say, like, they just don't get it. And I think as parents, it makes you respect like my mum. Like, I think, how did you do that? Like, I must have been so good. The my kids are not good.
So let's move forwards let's go from you finishing Corrie. When was it? Back in 2019, was it around then?
2019, yes, it was.
So you left Corrie to become a mum.
Yep.
And then in between then and now, so now you're back on stage. You're back.
Let's talk about that after we talk about this. The side hustle.
Shall we? Should we go back to when you had the idea?
The idea
for the side hustle. Okay.
You two will love this, because the reason I ended up doing my planners was because of Dancing on Ice.
Oh, really?
Which is bizarre. Yeah. So I remember doing Dancing on Ice, and I also was doing the radio at the same time. And I was still working at Corrie. So I remember.
I forgot you had a radio. When did you have your radio show? At Corrie?
Well, I used to do. Me and Gemma used to cover for a lady called Chelsea when she was on maternity. So me and Gemma used to alternate it.
This is Gemma,
back when it was
Gemma
Key
Atkinson.
103.
Gem Atkinson.
Yes. Yeah. So back when it was Key 103, it was predominantly me and Gemma anyway, and we used to work with Mike, and it was a breakfast show. So I used to get up at 5:30. I'd go and do the breakfast show till 10. I'd then go and do my ice skating at 10:30 till probably like 12:30, 1. And then the majority of my afternoon would be at Corrie. And then I'd come home, get in bed and do the same thing.
Wow.
And that obviously went on for so long. And then when I finished dancing, I was like, oh my God, should we have a baby? Should we move out? Should we decorate? What should we do? I have had all this time that I was like, what the hell are we doing? And I always loved planners, always. And I remember buying one, and it pains me now. It was $100. It would only ship to America. And by chance, Sasha was there. And I remember saying to her, look, I'm going to get this planner delivered to you. You're going to bring it back for me. Don't touch it. Don't open it. Don't write your name in it. I want to see it. And
what was so
going
special about this planner?
Oh, I don't know. It just oozed plannerisms. I don't know what it is.
It just had to be that one.
I used to be obsessed. It started off with a pucker pad from Asda, and it was these pucker pads that had all these tabs, and it made me feel like I had my studying together. It was when I was doing my GCSEs.
Yeah.
I then moved on. I went to Paper Chase for all the infills, all the stuff that I didn't need. And me and my best friend at the time, we used to go and we used to spend so much money on like all my Saturday jobs, all my money for that. I used to buy infills of like to-do lists and calendars and all this jazz. So then when I seen this planner, I said to Sasha, I need you to bring it home. Anyway, she brought it home for me, and I was having a look at it. And I just said, just randomly, I was like, I'm going to have one of these. I'm going to do one of these. And I have this thing in my head where my worst fear is someone say, oh, she always says she's going to do stuff and done. Right. So whatever I say I'm going to do it. And if I'm doing something, I will do it. So I started looking at these planners and I was like, I knew I wanted to do something within stationery, thinking of all these names. And even to this day, Kian, my partner, will still say he thought of Also Be, but he didn't. I'm sure it was definitely me.
Where did it come from? Where did Also Be come from?
Well, it's just like everybody said when I said to them, bringing up planners, everyone's like, oh my God, that's so you. That's so you. Oh my God, that's so you. So it was just kind of like, feels like Also Be. And
okay. Get it
I
now.
had no idea what I was doing. I used to ring printers up, ask them questions, and they'd say to me, okay, so what would you like? And they'd ask me questions and I didn't know the answer. So I'd pretend that the line was really bad. I'd like, sorry, let me just ring you back. I'd ring them back. Didn't know the phonetic alphabet, had to learn that. Honestly, I'd be like, it was I for igloo, like nothing. What are you talking about? And I remember finally getting some form of something together, and it got delivered to, because I was like, yeah, can you just deliver it to Corrie, because someone's always in. Oh my God, I had 1,000 planners, 2 pallets. And I remember the security ringing me saying, Brooke, 2 pallets of boxes have been delivered. Because I used to get all my parcels delivered there. There's always someone in. It was great. So, and I remember him saying, you need to move them. They're in reception. I was like, oh God. So I come down and I was like, oh my God. In your head, 1,000 planners is nothing. 1,000 planners in boxes was a lot. Covered all the reception. I was mortified. Wow. Anyway, gets them all out. Where was my first dispatches? Why did I get them dispatched? Got them all out. The printer company dispatched them for me as well. And they all went out, and then some people who'd bought them then started reviewing them, and there was like, this got 3 weeks wrong in April, these dates wrong. I didn't get it proofread. Didn't get proofread at all. Didn't know that was a thing. So, oh God.
So 1,000 were all wrong.
2,000.
Oh, people were trying to plan the lines on the wrong dates. It was horrendous, honestly.
Oh, no. And then where did you go then after that first lot went out? Did you get feedback from people? Did you redesign it, or did you just stick with what you had?
No, so I redesigned it. So it was a paperback at first, and then I obviously used it. And then throughout that time, people would be like, oh, you know, it gets dirty around the edges, or it's not durable enough, or there'd be loads of things that kind of came back feedback wise. And then over the 5 years, I've just kind of evolved it, and we've got new dispatchers now, we've got new manufacturers. So now it looks like a little Bible. It's like a book.
I know, we want to get one.
They're amazing. Look, I just took some screenshots of some of your. I'm just going to show them to the camera that we've got.
Yeah,
in front
they look
of
beautiful.
So absolutely gorgeous. Like.
Yeah, that's like my little sunflower one there. But it's mad because,
so cool.
You know, there's one of the things that led me to do it was quotes. I loved quotes. And every morning I used to go on Pinterest and look for a quote, and I'd put it on my Instagram. And it got to the point where like the girls in the chat would be like, where's your quote this morning? So that's what it's based around. It's based around positivity quotes. So like I write... God, I'm so pathetic. I write my own little quotes. So I write like a pep talk for the year. And then every month you get a new quote. And then every week as well, let me find my week, you get a little quote to just keep you positive and boosted.
I love that so much.
Yeah, and it's just like everything's in there. If it's not in there, it's not happening. It's just literally like the Bible.
Yeah.
So when we were interested in asking you, because obviously you like tactile things, so you've always liked planners, you've always liked paper and stationery and things like that, because this business has now evolved, hasn't it? So you've got stationery as well. I've been looking at your website recently. When you were acting, did you always have to have a paper? I know actors and actresses that need the paper script. I always worked off an iPad.
I hate that.
I always worked off an iPad, but you couldn't do that.
No, it stresses me out. I feel like iPads and like technology is permanent. I feel like I've got paper and pen, I can just change it. I think a lot of it subconsciously came from, you know, our jobs They are real jobs, but they're not real jobs
It's
in the
also
same way.
always...
We go to work to pretend to be someone else.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy, isn't it?
I always, and as well, like you say, my character was quite like laid back. So I always wanted a character that like wore business suits and had like a briefcase. And I always remember like wanting to be a solicitor. And my family would say, "What do you want to be when you're older?" I was like, "A solicitor." And then we all realised very quickly that I was never going to be a solicitor. So I was like, right, okay. And I think naturally, the reason why I love this and I love getting it out, and I feel like I've got a small part of my life together.
Yeah.
It makes me look like I've got my shit together.
Yeah.
And I think, again, with coffee, I always used to look at women who looked like, you know, they was on their way to a business meeting or they was on their way to do something good and they had a coffee and a briefcase and paper.
Yeah.
They had paper. Could have said nothing on it, but it was paper and a pen and it looked great on the train and I loved it. And then I was just being Sophie Webster who went to like bloody Kevin's garage and put on overalls and I was like, yeah, I've got a really good job. But yeah, it's just probably like
it's a prop.
Thing
it's
that
a life prop.
Yeah, it's a prop. It is.
Yeah,
it
and
is.
it makes
like
you feel
with
a certain
scripts.
way.
Yeah, I'm probably 4 or 5 weeks into the play. Still have my script.
Yeah.
Still have it there just in case. Just in case to take it on with me. I pack it every time we go.
So can I just ask, just before we move on to the play, where can we get the planner? Do we get it directly from your website? Can we get it elsewhere? Sold
out now for this year. But they come out around September, the end of September time. And yeah, just from my website, from my Instagram.
I love that. That feels really exclusive.
And the
That's
website,
really annoying because I wanted to get one.
Gotta
wait till September now.
Osob.com.
So if anyone wants in September, get on there.
In September,
get ordering.
Anyone wants to get the live together, there we go.
Do you
do an interim product in between? So like, what about if someone, it's only September and it goes year by year?
Yeah, so we've tried and done like teacher planners or like academic planners that obviously go throughout the year, but the custom for it isn't high enough. Okay. So like a lot of people, like we were saying, some people work off iPads. A lot of like the younger children, or not children now, young adults, they haven't got that pen to paper thing. That's not really a thing. So everything's on the phone or, a lot of it is social media based now and looking like you've got your life together rather than having it together.
Yeah.
So, I think it's my target market is very much, they come purely for this.
Yeah.
And it goes I have returning customers. Yeah. So it goes from January to December.
And that's why it's
I think a lot of people are going back to paper and books. I know we can all put stuff in our diaries like this on our phones and on our iPads, but I still have to have a paper one as well to have it written down. Yeah. This is all good, but then that runs out.
It's not
your
at
battery
all,
runs out.
I don't feel like it's real. I need to see everything lined up and, like you say, cross it off and change.
Like to-do list. Oh, yeah. I love writing a to-do list, and I love writing stuff that I've already done just to tick it off. It makes it feel brilliant. I love it. Have a wash, done. Brush teeth, done. It makes it feel like I'm good if I've ticked off loads of my day. I've actually, just before I come on here, wrote my little list down and I was like, right, okay, I've got through them, and makes me feel like I'm doing something that's just like little bit by bit by bit. It just makes my life a little bit easier. So yeah, I'm very much here for pen and paper.
We'll have to
ticking
pre-order.
off.
We need to pre-order.
We'll
get pre-ordering. So you touched earlier on your new job, the Syndicate.
Syndicate, yeah.
On tour. So you opened in Leeds. Is that right?
We was in Leeds. We've been in Leeds. We've been in Norwich. We've been in Richmond. We're now in Newcastle this week.
How long's left of the tour? Because you haven't done Manchester yet, have you?
No, Manchester's next week with all my friends and family, which is really exciting. We have still got quite a lot, actually. We've got another 10 weeks.
So when does it actually end?
The end of July.
End of July, okay.
Yeah, and you can find the dates online. Now, we've got something in common with the Syndicate, actually, because I did the original reading and the original workshop.
Did one of your jokes stay in? And you were really proud of it? Because I saw Gaynor and I said, I think
I did write.
There's one gag that Matthew did.
I came up with something. So when, bless her, when Kay was still alive, Kay Kay Mellor, she asked me to go and play the policeman part, basically, in the workshop. So we spent...
DCI Newhall.
That's the one, yeah. So we spent 4 days in a room, just all locked in a room and just coming up with new ideas for it. And then we'd kind of chip in and go, do you think it'd work better if I did this and that? So yeah, we spent 4 or 5 days doing that. And then to see it actually happen, I've not seen it yet, but to see it now on stage is it's great to have been a little part of kind of that going onto the stage. Yeah,
I think obviously Kay Mellor, like, where do you start with her? Like, she was amazing, and I think
Band of Gold.
Yeah, I think, naturally when this job came up, aside from the fact of being absolutely buzzing that I had a job, I had this almost like, I feel like I've been married into the family of like keeping it alive and spreading the word, and I feel so proud. And I didn't even write it, I didn't even participate in any jokes. I'm just like, I want everybody to see it for her. And like Gaynor, obviously she's directed it and it's amazing for her, but like she's really just like incredible in terms of like she's got this new lease of like a different side of what we were all used to. She's now directing, and she's lovely as well. She's a lovely director because she lets you do what you want to do, and then she'll say, right, actually, shall we try this?
Yeah.
And she's really patient, and she's, she talks through things. And I think, as much as she's keeping Kay's legacy alive, she's really setting her own one as well. And I think that's really important. And it's been an absolute pleasure to work for obviously the Syndicate, but also just with Gaynor. Yeah, it's been fab.
She is a fantastic person.
Oh yeah, she's amazing.
We're hoping to get her on the
podcast. When you say patient,
podcast.
I'm like, that's definitely something she's applied to a new role as a director, because she's a sassy actress. Do you know what I mean?
She's great. Yeah.
So I think we have to go and see it because
definitely.
She's very patient. It's actually dead funny because obviously Oliver, who's her son, is in the show. And it's dead funny because she goes harder on him and it's dead funny. So like yesterday, so I can't remember what had happened, but yesterday I said, me and Ollie wanted to ask the same question. And I've just kind of adapted this older sister being bossy role to Ollie because it's just really easy. And I said to him, you're going to ask what I'm going to ask, aren't you? And he was like, yeah. He went, you go and ask her. He went, she'll listen to you. And it's just dead funny, but I say all the time, like, she wants the best out of us. And I think it's really nice that, like you say, there's that level of respect there for her as well. And I think that's really important.
Absolutely.
To know that she's also been in the position as well.
Yeah, Oliver stepped in quite last minute, didn't he? Because Max dropped out, from The Wanted, wasn't it? He was supposed to be playing that role. So, Oliver stepped in at the last minute, and
how perfect!
Yeah, excellent.
Ollie is the perfect Jamie.
Yeah,
he's like so funny, and I just love the whole 3 generation thing.
Yeah,
and
it's amazing.
He's like the puppy of the set. And we've all got our little roles, and like I say, there's me and one of the other girls, Jade, and we're like very much the big sisters, and we're all like always rolling our eyes at the boys, and we've not got time for this. But yeah, Ollie every morning he's like a little puppy, he's like a Labrador. It's so funny.
And how's it going down with the audiences? Are the audiences loving it?
Yeah, really good actually. We was a bit nervous when we was in Richmond and Norwich because Kay's pieces are very northern based humour. And we didn't know how it was going to go down, but it went down really well. Brilliant. It really did, and we got some laughs, and it's really funny to see where people laugh, because some people really laugh at this bit and some people really laugh at that bit, and we're like, oh, did you get a laugh on that tonight? What did you do?
I hate it.
And you'll find, won't you? Obviously, like you say, with Kay's stuff, it's very northern humour, so you'll get laughs in different places in different areas of the country as well.
Yeah,
people
definitely
pick up on different things. But also, the Syndicate obviously was such a smash hit back in the day that even though it has got that northern humour, people are gonna love it all over the country. So, 100%. I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
Is it your first play?
Second
what did you do
play
first?
Actually, yeah, I did a play when I was young. Just before I did Dancing on Ice, I did a play. That was called Be My Baby.
Where was that?
And I loved doing that. It was. Did you say where?
Yeah.
Oh, so I toured. I only did a short tour. I did 5 weeks, But again, it's really funny because I always seem to have these characters that have like a similarity. Like I always thought I'd be like the Sandy, and they always give me Rizzo, and I'm like, what's going on here? But my character in this, Amy, she's bloody fabulous, and I love playing her. She's great.
That's brilliant. It's such a buzz being on stage, isn't it? It's such a difference from being in front of a camera when you can go again. You can go again if you want and do it again when you're on stage in front of thousands of people. You can't do it again, can you?
So I did it wrong the other day, and well, I didn't do it wrong. You know, naturally when you trip over your words.
Yeah.
I did that, and I walk across the stage, and I say something, and then I turn around and walk back and say something else and do it again. And on my first walk across, I stumbled my line to the point where I still had so much more to say, and I'm giving information. I can't walk off the stage. He's looking out. He's not even looking at me. And I thought, what do I do here? And I literally stood there, and it was an evident error. Like everybody would have known that this was an error because of the way that I'd said it. And I stood there and I let it drop for about 3 seconds. So you're the audience, and I literally looked to the audience. This is rule number one of what you don't do. I literally looked to the audience and I went, "You never told me about Bob," and carried on. And everyone burst out laughing. And I got off stage, everyone was like, what happened? I was like, I tripped over something. And Stuart Gaynor's partner, he was like, it was so bloody funny. He was like, the only thing you could have done was own it. And you did. You owned it.
That's amazing. And well done.
I just think the fact that I did it so early on, I'm not necessarily not scared, but like things happen along the way. My shoe flew off. Yeah. My shoe flew off yesterday. I was like, oh, my shoe. And then I keep thinking, I get really bad hay fever. I think, what if I start sneezing in the middle of the scene? I have to say it's hay fever.
Yeah.
And then I've been practicing my Leeds accent of saying hay fever because I'm obviously from Manchester. It's like just practicing all these steps just in case something happens.
Amazing. That's so brilliant.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go see it.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
So, well, let's just go back to the website. We're going to give that one more time. It's www.osob.com.
Can you go on a wait list?
You can subscribe. So when you subscribe, you get a pre-order, an early bird.
Yeah, that's what we'll need. Otherwise, we'll forget. So if anyone wants one, get on there, subscribe, pre-order, get your early bird. And then otherwise we'll be in this position again, won't we?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wanting a diary,
it makes
can't
me laugh,
get one.
though. I've not got my life together. It's all written down, but I'm still as crazy as the bloody next person.
It looks like you've got it in order. Looking at that diary in front of you.
That's a strong looking diary.
It's these, isn't it? It's these little coloured things sticking out.
Is that all saying like have a wash, brush your teeth? Is that what they all say?
Do you know what these are? These are my actual shows. You know, these are like my pinks are my daytime shows and my yellows are my nighttime shows. So when I've done one, I pull it off and we move on.
Look at that. That is in order. That is a life in order.
Yeah, that's like stationary hot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love it.
You say this, but then I also forgot my toothbrush. So I'm like, what the fuck? So
get a post-it note stuck in there now. Remember toothbrush.
Toothbrush,
there you go.
Take it off.
Brooke, thank you so much for coming on and talking about your
really
side hustle. Really good fun, and we can't wait to see you in the Syndicate. And good luck with
thank you.
With the business.
Thank you very much. Have a fabulous rest of your day, guys.
Hey, that was great.
That was lovely.
Really good.
She's so funny and so natural and such a great talker.
Proper northern
lass.
A proper northern lass. Yeah, and I can't wait to go see the Syndicate that she's in as well.
I'm excited to see the Syndicate, but I'm actually more excited about getting my little book, and I'm really disappointed I've got to wait till September. I love a list.
Do you know what? Planner. I never said to her, I should have said to her while she was still on the link, but I often put stuff in here or on my iPad.
Yeah.
And I forget. I forgot something. Yeah. I looked
so
today and I'd forgotten to do something yesterday, and it's because you don't look at it properly.
Don't look at it.
But when you've got it in front of you, in a book,
it's there.
And it's there. Like she said, you can tick it off. You can't tick things off on there.
No, that's it.
Are you going to put a pre-order in?
Why don't you do it and put 2 in?
Why don't you do it and put 2 in?
Because I'll forget and you won't.
Write it in your planner.
Well, that'll be like a nice Christmas present for me, won't it?